The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council was a marvel of engineering. Suspended in zero gravity, its circular design allowed representatives from countless species to float in their pods, ensuring each voice was equally heard or ignored, depending on the mood of the council. At the center, an immense holographic display projected Earth's blue and green image, spinning serenely against the backdrop of stars. Commander Sarah Klein stood at her designated platform, a solitary human amidst a sea of aliens. Her uniform was crisp, her posture rigid, but her expression betrayed no emotion as the chamber erupted in laughter. The laughter wasn't jovial or kind. It was mocking, echoing from every corner of the chamber. Primitive, sneered a tall, insectoid delegate whose exoskeleton shimmered like obsidian. They still use kinetic weapons, bullets of all things. Why waste time on a species so backwards? Hissed another, its voice a low growl. The speaker resembled a humanoid feline, its sharp teeth bared in amusement. We should focus on civilizations that matter. Sarah's hand tightened imperceptibly on the edge of her platform. She had known this meeting wouldn't be easy. Humanity's recent induction into the Galactic Council had been met with widespread skepticism. Earth was seen as a curiosity, an anomaly among the advanced species of the galaxy. But Sarah hadn't come here to make friends. Commander Klein, a booming voice, interrupted the cacophony. The room fell silent as a massive reptilian delegate leaned forward. Its eyes glowed faintly, and its scales glistened under the chamber's lights. Tell us, what does Earth bring to this council? Why should we tolerate a species so outdated? Sarah took a steady breath. Her voice, calm but firm, cut through the silence. We bring perspective, adaptability, ingenuity. She paused, letting the words sink in, qualities that many here seem to have forgotten. The chamber erupted once more, not with laughter, but with murmurs of disdain and disbelief. Adaptability, echoed the insectoid delegate, its mandibles clicking in derision. Your kind adapts because it has no choice. You lack the power to dominate, so you survive by scraping by. Sarah met the delegate's gaze without flinching. You mistake survival for weakness. That will be your first mistake. A new voice, smooth and cold, chimed in. Enough of this posturing. The speaker was a representative of the Vorthar Dominion, a faction known for its ruthlessness. The Vorthar delegate's pale, almost translucent skin gave it an unsettling appearance. The question isn't what humanity brings, but whether it can even defend itself. Words are meaningless without strength. The challenge hung in the air. Sarah's lips pressed into a thin line. She could see where this was heading. Perhaps a demonstration. The Vorthar continued, its lips curling into a cruel smile. We could send a fleet to Earth's borders just to test your so-called ingenuity. The room buzzed with approval. The idea of putting humanity in its place clearly appealed to many. Sarah leaned forward slightly, her eyes narrowing. I wouldn't recommend that. And why not? The Vorthar delegate taunted. What could your quaint little planet possibly do to stop us? For a moment, silence reigned. Then Sarah's voice, calm and cold, cut through the tension. 3,000 rounds per minute. The chamber stilled. Delegates exchanged confused glances. What does that mean? The reptilian leader demanded, his voice tinged with irritation. It means, Sarah said, her voice gaining an edge, that if you push us, you'll learn exactly how adaptable we are, and you won't like the lesson. The words lingered in the air, heavy and unyielding. For the first time, the laughter stopped. The Vorthar delegate leaned back, its expression unreadable. Bold words for a species on the edge of irrelevance. We'll see how long that bravado lasts. Sarah didn't respond. She simply turned and walked away from the platform, her footsteps echoing in the now silent chamber. Outside the council hall, Sarah paused, exhaling slowly. Her assistant, a young officer named Jenkins, approached cautiously. Commander, do you think they'll really send a fleet? They will, Sarah replied, her voice steady. They need to prove a point. And us? Jenkins asked, his voice tinged with uncertainty. Sarah glanced at him, a faint smile playing on her lips. We'll prove one of our own. As they walked away, the stars outside the Council's orbiting station gleamed with cold indifference. Somewhere, deep in Earth's asteroid belts, the Havoc-class railgun arrays hummed softly, waiting for their moment. The stage was set. The galaxy would soon learn what humanity was truly capable of. The Galactic Council's decision was swift, their disdain for humanity outweighing any lingering caution. Within hours of the heated exchange, the announcement came. A Vorthar fleet would conduct a demonstration near Earth's borders. Officially, it was framed as a routine exercise, but everyone knew the truth. It was a threat. The news reached Earth quickly. On the orbital station Vanguard, Commander Sarah Klein stood in the command center, her gaze fixed on the holodisplay. The Vorthar fleet's approach was marked by crimson dots, a stark contrast against the serene blue of Earth below. "They're not holding back," remarked Colonel Jenkins, standing beside her. His normally calm demeanor was edged with tension. "This isn't a small task force. They've sent a full battle group, carriers, destroyers, even a dreadnought." Sarah nodded, her expression unreadable. "They want to humiliate us, show the galaxy that humanity isn't worth the Council's time." "But we're ready," Jenkins said, his voice firm. "Aren't we?" Sarah turned to face him, her eyes sharp. "Readiness isn't the issue, Colonel. Restraint is." Jenkins frowned. "Restraint." Sarah gestured to the holodisplay, zooming in on the asteroid belt where Earth's hidden defenses lay dormant. Massive railguns, automated drone fleets, and cutting-edge missile systems were scattered among the rocks, invisible to the naked eye. "If we retaliate with everything we have, the galaxy won't see strength," Sarah explained. "They'll see a dangerous species that needs to be eliminated. We have to strike the right balance, strong enough to deter, but not enough to escalate." Jenkins nodded slowly, the weight of the situation sinking in. "So what's the plan?" Sarah's lips curved into a faint, determined smile. "We'll give them a demonstration of our own." In the Vorthar fleet's command ship, Dominion's Fang, Admiral Rithak observed the approaching planet with cold disdain. The Vorthar leader had pale, translucent skin that shimmered faintly under the dim bridge lights. "Pathetic," Rithak muttered, his voice dripping with contempt. "Look at them, still reliant on atmospheric defenses and crude orbital platforms. They won't even see us coming." A younger officer hesitated before speaking. "Admiral, reports indicate that Earth's defenses are unconventional. Their technology is hard to categorize." Rithak scoffed. "Unconventional is a euphemism for primitive. They've cobbled together scraps from old wars and call it innovation. This won't take long." As the fleet advanced, their sensors picked up movement within the asteroid belt. Small, seemingly insignificant objects began to shift, aligning themselves in a precise pattern. "Admiral, we're detecting activity," the sensor officer reported. "Unmanned drones, several hundred of them." "Drones?" Rithak laughed, a harsh, guttural sound. "They're sending toys against us." "Pathetic. Prepare to." He was cut off by a sudden, sharp alarm. The bridge lights dimmed, replaced by the urgent red glow of battle stations. "Admiral, incoming projectiles." Rithak's amusement vanished. "How many?" "Thousands," the officer replied, his voice shaking. "Originating from the asteroid belt. High velocity, railgun slugs." Rithak's eyes narrowed. "Evasive maneuvers. Activate the shields." Back on Vanguard, Sarah watched the unfolding chaos on the holodisplay. The Vorthar fleet had entered the kill zone, and Earth's automated defenses had sprung to life. Massive railguns fired tungsten slugs at hypersonic speeds, each impact devastating even the strongest shields. The drones, equipped with advanced AI, coordinated their attacks with surgical precision. They swarmed the Vorthar destroyers, overwhelming their point defenses with sheer numbers. Missiles followed, their warheads splitting into smaller, more agile projectiles that found weaknesses in the fleet's armor. Jenkins stared at the display, equal parts awe and horror. This isn't a demonstration. It's a massacre. Sarah's voice was calm but firm. It's controlled. We're targeting their outer ships, disabling their engines and weapons. Minimal casualties. They'll get the message. On the Dominion's Fang, Rithak's confidence had crumbled. His fleet was in disarray, their formation shattered by the relentless assault. "Admiral, we've lost contact with half the fleet," a panicked officer reported. Rithak slammed his fist onto the console. How? How is this possible? The answer came in the form of a single transmission from Earth. Sarah's face appeared on the bridge's main screen, her expression cold and unyielding. "This is Commander Sarah Klein of Earth's Defense Command. Your fleet has violated our borders and engaged in hostile actions. Stand down immediately, or we will escalate." Rithak snarled, his pride warring with the reality of his situation. "You dare threaten us?" Sarah's gaze didn't waver. "This isn't a threat. It's a fact. Withdraw your fleet. Admiral, you've made your point, and we've made ours." The transmission ended, leaving the Vorthar Admiral seething. But as he looked at the shattered remains of his fleet, he knew there was no choice. "Order the retreat," Rithak growled. As the Vorthar ships limped away, Sarah turned to Jenkins. "Think they've learned their lesson?" he asked. Sarah's expression remained serious. "They've learned one. But the real question is whether the rest of the galaxy was paying attention." Beyond the station's windows, Earth's defenses settled back into silence, ready for whatever came next. The aftermath of the skirmish spread faster than anyone anticipated. In a matter of days, every corner of the galaxy was abuzz with rumors, speculation, and fragmented reports. The sheer ferocity of Earth's hidden defenses had shocked even the most war-hardened civilizations. In the shimmering halls of the Galactic Council's capital, representatives of hundreds of species convened in hushed tones. The chamber, usually filled with loud debates and posturing, was eerily subdued. Representative Claith of the Exaveri leaned toward her Vorthar counterpart. "Archon Nesk, you said humans were primitive," she hissed, her silver eyes narrowing. "Is this what you call primitive?" Nesk's normally pale skin flushed a deep crimson with embarrassment. "They must have scavenged technology from fallen empires. There's no way they developed this on their own." Clith's expression darkened. Even if that were true, their coordination was not scavenged. Their defenses operated with precision and discipline. Perhaps we underestimated their ingenuity. At the head of the chamber, High Chancellor Viren, an ancient arcanid whose crystal-like form shimmered with the weight of centuries, struck the floor with his staff. The resonant chime silenced the room. "We face a critical moment," Viren began, his voice reverberating through the chamber. The humans' response to the Vorthar incursion was unexpected. However, their actions raise questions about their long-term intentions. Are they a threat to the Council's harmony? Murmurs rippled through the assembly. "They were provoked," Cliff interjected, her voice firm. "The Vorthar's fleet encroached upon their borders. Any species would have reacted similarly." "Similarly," Nesk sneered, his pride stinging. "No other species would possess the audacity to disable an entire fleet without declaring war." Back on Earth, the response was equally intense. The footage of the battle, leaked by unknown sources, had gone viral across human and alien networks alike. On a bustling street in New Shanghai, a massive screen displayed the battle in stark detail. People gathered in clusters, watching as Earth's automated defenses obliterated the Vorthar ships. Some cheered, others stared in stunned silence. In a quiet corner of a nearby cafe, Dr. Elena Martinez, a historian specializing in pre-council civilizations, scrolled through her tablet. Her face was lit with a mix of awe and concern. "Do you see this?" she asked her companion, a military analyst named Lieutenant Mark Taylor. Mark nodded grimly. "Hard to miss. The galaxy is watching us now. They're afraid, and rightly so. But it's not just fear. Alina pointed out, her voice tinged with curiosity. Some of them are fascinated. They want to know how we did it. Mark leaned back, his expression thoughtful. If they think our defenses are impressive, wait until they find out about the language. Alina's eyes widened. You don't think they'll? Mark smirked. Oh, they'll find out. Someone always does. And when they do, it'll change everything. Deep within the Galactic Council's archives, a group of researchers worked tirelessly. They had been tasked with unraveling the mystery of Earth's sudden technological leap. Among them was Dr. Varnes, a Xorvian linguist who had stumbled upon something remarkable. Look at this, Varnes said, gesturing to a series of glyphs on his holoscreen. These symbols, they match records from the ancient Korid Empire. His colleague, a nervous Utric biologist, peered closer. The Korid, that empire vanished millennia ago. Their language was thought to be extinct, and yet the humans used it. Varnes replied, his voice tinged with disbelief. The patterns in their communication logs align perfectly with Korid linguistic structures. How could a backwater planet like Earth have access to a dead language? The biologist hesitated. Do you think they found something? An artifact? Varnes shook his head. I don't know. But if they've deciphered the Korid secrets, we may be dealing with a power the galaxy hasn't seen in ages. Meanwhile, in Earth's clandestine military research facility, Commander Sarah Klein stood before a room of high-ranking officials. We've sent a message, she began, her tone calm yet commanding. But now we must decide how far we're willing to go. The Council will not take this lightly. They'll dig into our history, our technology. They'll find things. General Harper, a grizzled veteran, folded his arms. Let them dig. They won't find anything we don't want them to. And what about the Korid connection? Another official asked. If the galaxy discovers the link, they'll demand answers. Sarah's gaze hardened. Then we'll give them answers, just not the ones they're expecting. The room fell silent, the weight of her words settling over the gathered leaders. As the galaxy's attention focused on Earth, alliances began to shift. Old rivalries were set aside, and new partnerships emerged. For the first time in centuries, the balance of power was uncertain. In the shadows, unseen forces plotted their next move, their motives hidden behind layers of deception. Humanity had made its mark, but the game was far from over. The laughter had stopped, but the real battle was just beginning. The Galactic Council's investigative team was now fully focused on decoding Earth's connection to the ancient Korid Empire. It had become clear that humanity's recent triumph was no mere accident. In the depths of the Council's vast archival repository, researchers worked tirelessly, their curiosity tinged with unease. Dr. Varnes, the Xorvian linguist who had first identified the link to the Korid language, was at the heart of the operation. His team's efforts had unearthed fragments of an ancient transmission encoded in a format eerily similar to human communication systems. This doesn't make sense, muttered Varnes, his appendages twitching in frustration. The Korid were wiped out thousands of cycles ago. How did these symbols end up on Earth? It's not just their symbols, replied his assistant, a keen-eyed Quarian analyst. Their mathematical frameworks match Earth's communication protocols. It's almost as if humans were taught this language. On Earth, the implications of the Korid connection were being discussed in secretive circles. In the dimly lit war room beneath the United Nations headquarters, Commander Sarah Klein addressed a gathering of Earth's top military and scientific minds. We've kept the Korid legacy hidden for decades, Sarah began, her voice steady but intense. The relics we found during the Mars excavation weren't just artifacts. They were blueprints that reshaped our understanding of technology. Dr. Elena Martinez, the historian who had become Earth's unofficial expert on the Korid, leaned forward. And the language? She asked. How much do they know? Sarah hesitated before answering. Enough to suspect the truth. The Council's investigators are relentless. It's only a matter of time before they piece it together. Then we must control the narrative, Elena urged. If they think we've rediscovered the Corrid secrets, they'll fear us even more. But if they believe we're collaborating with some remnant of the Corrid, that could provoke a galactic war. Meanwhile, on the Galactic Council's capital world, a different narrative was forming. High Chancellor Viren convened a meeting of the Council's Security Directorate. Earth's advancements are no longer in question, Viren declared. The real question is whether their intentions align with the Council's vision of peace. Representative Nesk of the Vorthar scoffed. Peace. These humans are no harbingers of peace. Their retaliation was brutal and efficient. They are a threat to our stability. And yet, countered Clith of the HFY, they only acted after provocation. We must tread carefully. Pushing them too far could lead to consequences none of us are prepared for. A holographic display lit up in the center of the chamber, showing the deciphered fragments of the Corrid code. The room fell silent as the ancient symbols flickered ominously. Do we truly believe the humans are working with Corrid remnants? The voice asked. Unlikely, Viren replied. But if they've uncovered Corrid technology, they may already possess weapons far beyond our comprehension. Back on Earth, the public remained unaware of the Council's investigations or the depth of the Corrid connection. However, whispers of Earth's newfound strength spread rapidly. Underground forums buzzed with speculation, conspiracy theories, and even admiration for the humans' defiance. In one such forum, an anonymous user posted, "What if we're not alone? What if the Corrid aren't extinct but hiding, and they've chosen Earth as their base?" The post went viral, drawing millions of views within hours. In the Galactic Council's archives, Dr. Varnis made a breakthrough. A previously undeciphered fragment of the Corrid language began to align with Earth's recent transmissions. The result was chilling. "It's a warning," Varnis whispered, his voice trembling. "The humans aren't just using Corrid technology. They've unlocked something the Corrid tried to keep hidden. A weapon, perhaps. Something so dangerous, they destroyed themselves trying to control it." His assistant's eyes widened. "If that's true, then we're all in danger." As the tension across the galaxy reached its peak, one thing became clear. The mystery of Earth's connection to the Corrid wasn't just about the past. It was a harbinger of what was to come. The stage was set for a confrontation unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen, and humanity, with its defiance, ingenuity, and connection to a long-lost empire, was at the center of it all. The Galactic Council chamber was alive with whispers of speculation and fear. The evidence connecting humanity to the ancient Corrid Empire was no longer a secret within the Council's elite. High Chancellor Viren called for an emergency session, her calm exterior concealing the storm brewing within. "Esteemed representatives," Viren began, her voice cutting through the murmurs, "our investigations have confirmed that Earth has access to Corrid technology, possibly even their forbidden weaponry. This revelation places us all in peril." A hologram of the recently decoded Corrid warning flickered into view. The ancient script translated itself into the universal tongue. "Beware the reckoning. Those who unlock the power shall inherit our doom." Gasps echoed through the chamber. Even the most battle-hardened counselors felt a shiver run down their spines. "We must act now," declared Nesk of the Vorthar. "The humans must be subdued before they unleash chaos upon us all. And if we provoke them," countered Clith of the HFY, her tone sharp. "What then? They've already shown they can retaliate with devastating precision." Back on Earth, the war room buzzed with activity. Commander Sarah Klein stood before the Global Coalition, flanked by military strategists and scientific advisors. On the table lay a newly discovered relic, a cylindrical device etched with Corrid symbols. "This is what they fear," Sarah said, her voice steady yet firm. "The Council believes we've unlocked the full power of the Corrid. They see us not as equals, but as a threat to their dominance." Dr. Elena Martinez examined the relic with a mix of awe and trepidation. "Do they know how much we've actually deciphered?" Sarah shook her head. No, but their paranoia will drive them to act. We need to be prepared. What about the weapon? Asked General Adebayo, his voice gruff. Have we determined its purpose? Alina hesitated. Not yet, but the inscriptions suggest it's more than a weapon. It's a key to something far greater. Across the galaxy, rumors of Earth's newfound power spread like wildfire. On distant worlds, civilizations speculated about the humans' sudden rise. Some hailed Earth as liberators, others feared them as harbingers of destruction. In a remote mining colony on Tovrix IV, a group of laborers huddled around a newsfeed broadcasting the Council's warnings about humanity. They've done it, one miner muttered, his voice laced with awe. The humans have awakened the Corrid's legacy. Another scoffed. Legacy? More like a curse. If they're not careful, they'll bring the entire galaxy to ruin. The Galactic Council's military branch, the Vanguard Fleet, began mobilizing. Fleets of warships gathered in orbit above the Council's capital world, their engines humming with ominous energy. The fleet's commander, Admiral Thrin, addressed his crew with grim resolve. We face an uncertain enemy, Thrin said. Humanity's capabilities are untested on the scale of galactic warfare, but make no mistake, if they wield Corrid technology, they are a threat we cannot ignore. As the fleet prepared for deployment, whispers of dissent grew among the ranks. Many officers questioned the wisdom of provoking humanity further. Meanwhile, on Earth, the global coalition finalized its contingency plans. Satellites equipped with cutting-edge weaponry were repositioned, and humanity's first interstellar defense fleet stood at the ready. In a private briefing, Sarah addressed her team. The Council's fear will drive them to make a move. We must be ready to counter any aggression, but we won't strike first. Alina interjected, her voice tinged with concern. And if they come for the relic? Sarah's expression hardened. Then we'll show them why Earth isn't a world to be underestimated. Tensions reached a boiling point as the Council's fleet moved closer to Earth's borders. On both sides, anticipation and fear fueled preparations for what could become the most devastating conflict in galactic history. In the Council chamber, Viron's voice rang out. The humans have been given their chance. If they won't submit, we will ensure the safety of this galaxy by any means necessary. But even as she spoke, doubts lingered in her mind. The warning from the Corrid relic echoed in her thoughts. What if humanity wasn't the true threat, but the key to averting an even greater catastrophe? Unseen by both sides, the ancient Corrid systems began to stir, responding to the relic's activation. Somewhere in the darkness of space, a signal was sent, one that would change the fate of the galaxy forever. The calm of space was shattered as the Galactic Council's Vanguard Fleet emerged from hyperspace near Earth's borders. Thousands of warships, gleaming with the latest technology, formed an intimidating wall of power. Their arrival was a declaration. Humanity's defiance would not be tolerated. Admiral Thrin, standing on the bridge of the Council's flagship Eternal Vigilance, addressed his fleet with grim determination. Transmit the ultimatum, he ordered. Give them one chance to surrender the relic and stand down, or we proceed with neutralization. A communication beam was sent to Earth, and moments later, the global coalition intercepted the message. In the underground war room, Commander Sarah Klein watched the holographic projection of Thrin's cold, imposing face. Humans of Earth, Thrin began, his voice devoid of emotion. You have been deemed a threat to galactic stability. Surrender the Corrid relic and all associated technology immediately, or face the consequences of your actions. The room fell silent as the ultimatum ended. Sarah exchanged glances with General Adebayo and Dr. Elena Martinez. They've made their move, Sarah said, her tone resolute. But they underestimate us. In orbit, Earth's defense fleet prepared for the inevitable. Ships of varying sizes, many designed from salvaged alien technology, took formation. The flagship, Resolute Endeavor, bristled with experimental weapons that had never been tested in real combat. Admiral Singh, commander of Earth's fleet, addressed her crew. The Council thinks they can intimidate us with numbers and firepower. But they forget. They've never faced humans in a fight for survival. Stand ready. We'll give them a lesson they won't forget. On the surface, panic rippled through the population as news of the Council's fleet spread. Cities fortified their defenses, and civilians were moved into underground shelters. Despite the fear, there was also an undeniable resolve. Across the globe, people rallied together, united by the knowledge that humanity had defied the odds before, and would do so again. In one such shelter, a young girl clutched a small model of a spaceship. Her mother knelt beside her, whispering reassurances. "We've survived everything they've thrown at us. We'll get through this too." Back in the war room, Earth's leaders debated their response. Some advocated for immediate surrender to avoid annihilation, while others pushed for retaliation. Sarah slammed her hand on the table, silencing the room. "We didn't come this far to bow now. The Council thinks they're the only ones with power, but we have something they don't. Our ingenuity, our will to fight, and a unity they'll never understand." Alina nodded, her eyes focused on the relic glowing faintly on the table. "And we have this. If they fear it, maybe it's time we showed them why." As the deadline approached, the Council fleet began charging its weapons, ready to deliver a crippling first strike. On the bridge of the Eternal Vigilance, Thryn received a report from his tactical officer. "Earth's fleet is holding position, sir. No sign of surrender." Thryn frowned. "Then they leave us no choice. Prepare to fire." The first volley from the Council's fleet lit up the void, a storm of energy designed to obliterate Earth's defenses. But as the barrage closed in, a network of satellites activated, forming a shield of kinetic barriers and countermeasures. Explosions erupted harmlessly in space, leaving Earth untouched. On board the Resolute Endeavor, Admiral Singh smirked. "They've made their opening move. Now it's our turn." Earth's fleet surged forward, weapons blazing. The Council ships, though advanced, were unprepared for the sheer unpredictability of human tactics. Using coordinated maneuvers and daring gambits, Earth's ships broke through the Council's formation, targeting key vessels with precision. In the chaos, a single message from Earth was broadcast across the galaxy. "To the Galactic Council, you sought to destroy us, but we are not so easily broken. This is our home, and we will defend it with everything we have. The age of human submission is over." The Council fleet, now realizing the full extent of humanity's determination and resourcefulness, began to falter. But the battle was far from over. As Earth's forces pushed back, deep within the relic, ancient systems awakened. A faint hum grew louder, resonating with a power that had lain dormant for millennia. Alina's eyes widened as she studied the readings. "Commander," she said, her voice trembling. "The relic. It's activating on its own." Sarah turned to her, her jaw clenched. "What does that mean?" Alina looked up, her face pale. "It means we've just unleashed something far beyond our understanding." The relic pulsed with light, sending a signal into the stars, one that neither humanity nor the Council could ignore. The battle above Earth was no longer just about survival. It was the beginning of something far greater. The skies above Earth were alight with chaos. Council warships fired relentlessly, their advanced weapons raining energy bolts that lit up the darkness. Yet humanity's fleet held firm, moving with a fluidity and precision that baffled the alien commanders. Admiral Singh stood on the bridge of the Resolute Endeavor, her voice calm but commanding. "Push forward. Target their command ships. We break their spine, and the rest will crumble." Across the battlefield, Earth's ships unleashed a relentless counterattack, their ingenuity compensating for their technological inferiority. Ships darted through the void, executing daring maneuvers that no alien commander would have considered. In the war room on Earth, the tension was palpable. Commander Sarah Klein paced in front of the holographic display, watching the battle unfold. "We're holding them back," General Adebayo said, his voice tense. "But we can't keep this up forever." Dr. Elena Martinez, hunched over the relic's control console, shook her head. We won't have to. The relic glowed brighter with each passing second, its ancient mechanisms whirring to life. Symbols etched into its surface shifted and pulsed with energy. Elena's hands moved frantically over her terminal, deciphering the signals it emitted. It's responding to the battle, she said. It's analyzing everything. Sarah frowned. What's it doing? Elena turned to her, her face pale but resolute. It's preparing to intervene. On the bridge of the Council flagship, Eternal Vigilance, Admiral Thrin watched the battle with mounting frustration. Report, he barked. They're holding their ground. Sir, his tactical officer replied. Their fleet isn't falling back. Thrin's expression hardened. Then we escalate. Deploy the annihilation cannons. We'll wipe them out in one strike. As the Council prepared its final attack, the relic's glow intensified. A low hum filled the air in Earth's war room, resonating through the walls and into the very ground. Elena's eyes widened as new symbols appeared on her screen. Commander, she said, her voice trembling. It's sending out a signal. A signal to who? Sarah demanded. Elena's gaze shifted to the relic, now radiating a golden light. Not who. What? Above Earth, the relic's activation unleashed a wave of energy that rippled through space. Council ships were momentarily blinded as their systems flickered and failed. The energy wave disrupted their formation, leaving them vulnerable. On board the resolute Endeavor, Admiral Singh seized the opportunity. All ships, advance, she commanded. Take out their lead vessels while they're disoriented. Earth's fleet surged forward, hammering the Council ships with precision strikes. The tide of battle shifted as humanity pressed the advantage. But the relic's power didn't stop there. Deep within its core, ancient mechanisms activated, releasing a burst of light that shot into the heavens. Far beyond the battlefield, in the uncharted reaches of space, dormant structures began to awaken. Massive constructs, long hidden and forgotten, came to life in response to the relic's signal. Their sheer scale dwarfed anything the Council or humanity could imagine. On the Eternal Vigilance, Thrin stared at his screens, disbelief etched across his face. What is that? He whispered. The answer came in the form of a massive construct emerging from hyperspace. Towering over the Council's flagship, it emitted a light that seemed to pierce the fabric of reality itself. Elena's voice echoed in the war room, filled with awe. It's a guardian. A guardian of what? Sarah asked. The relic, Elena said. And now, humanity. The construct unleashed a pulse of energy that disabled the Council's remaining ships. Weapons powered down, engines stalled, and communications went silent. The fleet, once so confident, was now defenseless. On the resolute Endeavor, Admiral Singh watched the scene unfold with a mix of awe and relief. It's not attacking us, she said. It's protecting us. The battle was over. Earth had survived, not just because of its determination and ingenuity, but because the relic had deemed humanity worthy of its protection. As the Council fleet retreated in disgrace, the Guardian construct remained, its presence a silent warning to any who might threaten Earth again. In the war room, Sarah turned to Elena. What happens now? Elena smiled faintly. Now we learn. And we prepare for whatever comes next. The relic pulsed one last time, its light fading into a calm glow. Humanity had earned its place in the galaxy, but the journey was far from over. This was only the beginning.